everyone, welcome back to my channel, Mas Masa. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am super excited to bring this recipe to you guys straight to your home. Well, because you guys have been asking for it. A couple of weeks ago, I was at Concha and had a live demonstration on how to create this recipe. And a lot of you were like, are you going to record it? And I was like, not really. But then after so many requests, well, I decided to come on here and show you guys how to make this super delicious recipe. And it is Concha. I was gonna say French toast, but it's not French toast. Concha Tres Leches.
Concha Tres Leches.
Yes, you heard that right. Concha Tres Leches Cake. And this recipe is, well, the Tres Leches recipe that I will be sharing with you is actually my mom's Tres Leches recipe, but she knows I'm using it for this particular recipe. Now, this recipe is really all aesthetics. If you're having like a Concha themed party or something like that and you want to show the Concha in your Tres Leches, well, this is actually the perfect recipe for you. It will taste a little like Concha only because we are going to add Conchas to the Tres Leches, but overall it's going to taste like a traditional Tres Leches. This is my mom's secret recipe, which is no longer secret because I convinced her to share it with the world on Abuela's Kitchen. I'll leave the original link for this recipe down below, so make sure you check that out. If you want a more in-depth video on how to make the Tres Leches cake by itself, just go down there and check it out. Otherwise, I am going to be zooming through the actual process of making the Tres Leches pretty quick because there is already a video. I'm just going to show you how to make sure that your conchas show up on your Tres Leches cake. So, if you're new to my channel, hit subscribe and like while you're at it. All my videos are cool. Well, I don't know. I guess it's up to you to decide, right? But in my channel, you're gonna see a lot of Latina living, recipes with a Latina twist, a Chicana twist, lifestyle, fashion, and so much more. So make sure you hit subscribe, like this video, and hit that notification bell to make sure you get notified by YouTube whenever I upload a video. Thank you so much for the love and support that you guys have showed me with the past videos. And so let's get started because I'm rambling now. I don't even know what to say. Okay, bye, peace. Well, first let me tell you guys the ingredients. Okay, so for this recipe, you're gonna need the star, which are conchas. I like to use pink conchas only because they stand out better in a vanilla or white cake. You're going to need 3 types of milk to make your milk mixture: table cream, condensed milk, and evaporated milk. You're gonna need flour, sugar, vanilla, baking powder, and eggs. I'll leave the details to this recipe at the bottom. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do to make the cake is I am going to separate the egg whites from the yolk. So I'm gonna be using 6. This calls for an apron. Totally forgot to put it on. Now we're ready. Okay, so I have my KitchenAid here and I have all the egg whites and I have 1/2 cup of sugar, which I am going to be adding to the egg whites a little at a time, and I'm going to fluff them up. I'm gonna fluff them up. Okay, so the next step is I'm going to do the same thing with the yolks. I am going to blend this as well with another 1/2 cup of sugar, and I'm going to add it a little bit at a time as well. And I'm also going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Let's do this. And you're gonna mix it until the yolks turn a little pale. Okay, as you can see, it's a soft yellow now. Okay, so what I'm gonna do next is I am going to fold the yolks into the whites very slowly, a little bit at a time. You don't want your white fluff to get too flat. So you're gonna add it a little bit at a time and fold. I have 1 cup of flour and I have 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and I'm going to sift it into my egg mix. So here's my sifter. So I'm just gonna do a little at a time without spilling it over. And I'm also gonna fold it in here. I don't want it to flatten too much. It's looking beautiful, beautiful. Okay, and the batter is ready. I have a 9-inch pan. It's pretty thick. The thicker your pan is, or your baking pan is, the more milk it will take. It'll be harder for the milk to transfer all the way through. So keep that in mind. I am going to grease my pan. You can use whatever you want. I'm using Menteconcha. I'm gonna make sure I completely cover my pan so that it doesn't stick. But this one will be super easy only because it's got this little thing right here, this little lever that's going to release the cake. So it should be really easy. I'm going to take some flour and just sprinkle it all around. You want to cover the entire pan with the flour. You even want to do the sides, so bring it down, take it around until it's completely covered all the way through. And you want to remove any excess. Fácil, no? Okay, we're ready. The next step will be taking your conchas and cutting them up to create whatever design you want on your pan. What you're going to want to do is place your conchas upside down in your pan, because remember, when you flip your cake, the conchas should be on top, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. So what I'm going to do is I am going to place 1 concha right in the center, and I'm going to add pieces to the side. So I'm just gonna cut this baby right in half. And I'm trying not to mess with the pink topping, because that's what's going to make it cute, and we want a cute concha. So I'm gonna cut that particular piece into half. So I'm cutting it into 4ths, and this concha is so fresh. The bread is so soft. I mean, you could leave the bread out for a day so that it's not as soft and it's not as easy to break. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to flip my concha over, dust off any particles that are falling off, and I am going to place it on the edge, as you can see, right? So it's touching the side of my pan, and I'm gonna add them to the 4 corners. Placing it in the corner, dust it off, place it in the corner, dust it off, place it in the corner. All right, so here we have it. Okay, so I think I want a piece right in the center, so I am going to go ahead. I'm gonna cut up this other concha to add it to the center. So I'm just gonna cut a piece of it out, right around the edges. We're just gonna do this, because it is really big, so my pan is pretty small in comparison to the other pans that I've used. So I think that's all I'm gonna do. And I am going to place that right in the middle. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay, this is where you have to be very, very careful. In order to see the concha on top of your cake, you're gonna have to pour in your batter very carefully so that you don't move the pieces of concha that are already inside. If you move them, chances are your batter is going to get underneath your concha and you won't be able to see them when you flip them and want to show those beautiful, delicious conchas on your cake. What I like to do is make sure I put the cake batter actually in the areas where there is no concha. So I just drop it in there first and try not to move it. So I'm just gonna let it fall in there and take its shape. Try to place it all in between each area that is not covered with concha first before going in other places. Okay, okay. Without moving the conchas, try to push it in every crevice that is not covered. Don't move them. Do not move the conchas. I'm trying to do this very carefully because I had a mishap once, but I learned my lesson. Do it very carefully and very gently. Let's see, where else does it need it? It needs it back here. Don't move the concha, just kind of maneuver it. You can manipulate it a little where the conchas are not, but make sure that you don't move them around. Make sure that the batter is even across. So now once I've done that, I can begin to just make it even all the way around, all the way through. I'm gonna let it settle in for a little bit before I even try to do anything. I'm gonna hit it a little bit, very gently though, not too much. I don't want to wiggle it too much and like mess with it. But I think the heat of the oven is going to, you know, let it melt into the pan. I set my oven at 350 degrees and I'm gonna leave this in the oven for about 30 minutes. Use your fork, poke it. If it comes out clean, bam, it's done. Make sure the top is brown and you're good to go. All right, let's go. Okay, so while the cake is baking, I am going to be making the milk mixture to add to the Tres Leches cake. I'm gonna take 1 can of Can Evaporated Milk. I'm also gonna be using 1 can of condensed milk. This isn't for the people who want to diet, okay? Because this has sugar galore. Give that a good mix, making sure they integrate together. Yes, we belong together for eternity. Next, I'm gonna take some table cream and add that. This is a very thick cream. En español se llama media crema, para los que quieran saber. Dump that in there and you are going to mix it again. Now we're good to go, guys. And there we go, guys. That is it. This is the milk mix for your Tres Leches. And I am just gonna wait until that Tres Leches cake is ready. Okay, here it is. Exactly 30 minutes. It was done. Don't worry if it's super uneven. You can cut off the bottom. You're gonna actually scrape some of it off anyway, and I'll show you after I cool it down. Now I'm going to just let it cool down for a few minutes and add the milk. Okay guys, so here's the cake. I have it in a tray that kind of folds up a little because I don't want the milk to spill out. So first thing I'm gonna do is, if you wanna level it off, you can. It's totally up to you. What I'm gonna do is make incisions in my bread because, well, I want the milk to really soak up into the cake. I'm gonna pour it on the bottom so it's gonna soak up, but I'm also gonna pour it over the top. That way the milk is coming in from the bottom and from the top, and hopefully they meet right in the middle. And if they don't, well, you know, sorry about that. All the way around, make sure it is all completely covered. I don't wanna cut it all up, but. So I'm gonna flip it. You do this however you want. This is my cake. I'm the only one who's eating it, so I can touch it any way I want. And there it is. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Looks gorgeous, simply gorgeous. So I'm just gonna take as much as I can and put it underneath the cake. I want it to soak up, so I'm gonna put obviously a ton because I don't care if it falls. It's big enough so it doesn't spill. So yeah, just add as much as you want. So remember, the thicker your pan though, the harder it is for the bread to soak up or to go through the entire bread. So it's totally up to you. Well, and that is it guys. Concha Tres Leches Cake. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, hit thumbs up, subscribe, share it with your friends. If you make it, let me know how it turns out. Send me a picture, I would love to check it out. If you have any requests or any challenges for me, leave a comment down below and we'll see you guys in the next one. Latina in the house. Que le muerda, que le muerda. Con gusto. Hey, no hay nadie que me